If you clicked on this video by accident, I'm going to give you a few seconds to get away from this video so you don't get spoiled. 3, 2, 1. Alright, since you're still here, I'm going to assume you are okay with spoilers. There it is. Gogmazios was found in the files of the benchmark of all things. Yes, we data mined a benchmark and found Gogmazios, which is absolutely hilarious. Now, these other monsters in this text here, they're from Rise, obviously, and I guess Iceborne. I don't know which of these will make it to Wild's title updates, but Magnamalo being in the game makes no sense. I don't see why that would happen. The focus of the video is very clearly Gogmazios. Now, you might remember a while back, a few months ago, I made this video talking about a theory that my friend Xavier came up with. He calls it the Gen 4 final boss theory, where since we got Gen 3 final bosses, like Amatsu and Elatrion, in Gen 5, we would get Gen 4 final bosses in Gen 6. And based on this leak, that appears to be absolutely correct so far. Because, you know, Wilds is very heavily based on 4 Ultimate. Why wouldn't the final boss of 4 Ultimate be in Wilds? Now, this is fascinating to me. Because if you remember, granted it happened so many years ago you might not remember, but at the end of 2017, before Base World even released, the roster for Base World was leaked. And we saw all of the monsters that were going to be in the game, with a couple exceptions. Fatalis pushed away Orochi Kirin, and maybe a different monster, I'm not sure, but I know Orochi Kirin was in the world leaks. Elatrion was in those leaks. Now, of course, we did get Elatrion in Iceborne, but the fact that we saw him in a base world leak is very fascinating to me, because it meant he got pushed to Iceborne and was planned for the base game. Will Gogmazios be a similar situation where it gets leaked for base Wilds, but it gets pushed to Wilds Ultimate like next year, which I imagine Wilds Ultimate will release sometime next year in 2026? This could be that situation, because it would be weird getting a high rank Gogmazios. That doesn't exist. The only Gogmazios we have is Master Rank, it's G rank, in the game he premiered in, 4 Ultimate, and we haven't seen him anywhere else since. This also begs the question if Dalamatter will be in Wilds, because if we get Gogmazios first, wouldn't that kill some of the Dalamatter hype? I feel like it makes sense to put the high rank final boss of 4 in base Wilds and then save Gogmazios for Ultimate in Master Rank. That just makes sense to me. If it's the other way around, then that means Wilds would be the first Monster Hunter game to have a high rank Gogmazios, which I find pretty funny. As for locales, I can imagine him being in the Oil Well Basin. Can you think of a more fitting locale for the Oil Dragon? Like, it's clear as day. Now, of course, you could make the argument, well, he's so big, he would need a big enough area in the Oil Well Basin to be in. And yeah, that's a fair point. It would be kind of bizarre just to put him in one single area, and I doubt he'd be roaming. Being a roaming Elder Dragon at his size in just one of the maps, that would be weird. I feel like he would probably be in the Oil Well Basin, but he would need like a very specific arena in the biome itself made just for him. I can see that happening. Obviously, we have some forms of heavy artillery in the Oil Well Basin. We had that big old hammer Dragonator looking thing that hit Rompopolo in that trailer, so I can imagine that could be used against Gogmazios. You have to wonder if they're going to make him smaller, like they made Elatrion a lot smaller in Iceborne. I hope not, because making him smaller would be very awkward, honestly. He's supposed to be gigantic. I am a little weirded out at how much smaller Elatrion is in Iceborne compared to previous games, so I don't think they do that with Gog. He probably would need his own locale, because I just don't think the basin would be big enough for him, even in the locale's biggest areas. I imagine he will probably get some new unique gimmick of some kind. I know that's a pretty hot take for a lot of people. It's a hot topic. Oh, don't give a monster a gimmick, just keep him as it was. Because, you know, a lot of people hated Elatrion's Eschaton Judgment. A lot of people like the fight with Elatrion. Like, the actual fight is amazing. It's just the elemental Eschaton mechanic is what threw a lot of people off, myself included. So will Gogmazios be untouched in that regard, or will he get a unique gimmick to make his fight more, I guess, special? I personally would like him to just be modernized, but not have some weird gimmick. He'll probably get one. Honestly, I could see it happening. But it could be like Fatalis, where it's an intuitively well-designed gimmick that doesn't really interfere with the fight. Because Eschaton Judgment, that interfered with the fight a lot. Fatalis's head break mechanic, that was optional. You could just simply not get hit. And it wasn't a fight ruiner, but it gave you some extra challenge. Gogmazios could probably be the same thing in that regard. I can also just see them bringing back the battle quarters, like the map you see on screen right now. That'd be very weird. It'd be a little awkward, but I don't know. The game is so 4 Ultimate inspired. I could see them just recreating the battle quarters with the Demolisher, because obviously the Demolisher is very cool. Gogmazios is the first time we ever saw the Demolisher, to my knowledge, and then it was brought back in the Lao Shan Lung fight in Generations Ultimate. So the Demolisher would have to be incorporated, I feel. It's too special. It's too important. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say. Pretty short video. Just wanted to discuss this major leak because I don't see anyone else on YouTube talking about it. Obviously, I don't expect many people to watch this video because it is a title update spoiler. It's very extreme. So if you're watching this video, you don't care about leaks. Personally, I'm staying away from the base game final boss. I don't know what that is. I'm okay with knowing Gogmazios because he's a monster I fought in For You. He's a familiar face. I know he exists, so I don't mind spoiling myself on him specifically. It's just the unique original final boss in the base game that I don't want to see. But yeah, that's it. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon. Yeah, p.m. is afternoon, you know that. I will be streaming the Monster Hunter Wilds beta, fighting Gypsaros, fighting Unveiled, Eastern Standard Time. That is 1 o'clock p.m. So, yeah, that's it. See you then.